You see these three characters right here? These are three cold-ass characters in their own right. Of course, two of these characters are way more colder than the other one, but I'll let you decide who that is. For the love of God, I cannot overlook the fact that these three, back to back to back, who all originally had clear goals in mind, although one of them was essentially a puppet, and the fact that they were all consumed and became slaves to their goals, all gave up on those very goals in the end. So much for all of that damn conviction, huh? But hey, you know what? I actually get it. Naruto's mere existence makes people question their own choices. Except that's actually bullshit. The truth of the matter is, none of these three were built for the villain life. There, I said it. They aren't built for this shit. I cannot stress this enough. If a little sit down and talk can get you to see the error in your way while you've been plotting some wild shit, you were never about anything. Looking back at Naruto, after binging it like a no-life idiot college student at the time, anytime the talk no jutsu shit was in full effect, and I'm putting air quotes around that, them reflecting and questioning their choices really makes me question if they truly wanted to go through with their plan. Because the way how they're so quick to change up their whole way of thinking after a loss or a good talking to really makes it feel like at any point someone could have sat them down and talked to them to stop them from doing the bullshit that they were about to do. At least that's the case with Nagato and Obito. I'll get to Madara later. To me, Nagato's kinda like the kid in school who had a rough upbringing and is surrounded by happier students who didn't have to go through the same hardships that he had to endure. And Nagato is also the same student who wants everyone else to feel the same way that he felt just so that they could be knocked down a peg. Yeah, I'm full aware that that's a gross oversimplification of his character, so please, don't kill me. A man in his 30s that's about to make a big-ass decision should not be so easily swayed by a teenager after going through the lengths that he has gone. I don't care what kind of plot armor this kid has. If someone believes that violence is the way to maintain peace, I don't see in what world a kid in an orange jumpsuit can pop up and be like, bro, this is wrong, and get that person to change. Especially after just one single conversation? Really? Just one conversation? And the funny part about that is that this single conversation didn't even last hours. It's not like one of those conversations you have when you and the boys are out on the town at night kicking it and just talking about some real shit. But you know what, even that is kinda putting it lightly, because Naruto really ain't have shit to rebut against Nagato. Aside from Naruto having the willpower not to push in Nagato's shit, his responses were childish to me, which I think is actually fine. He's a teenager after all, so it makes sense for him to have a childish perspective. But for someone like Nagato to all of a sudden doubt himself and see Naruto as the answer to all of his questions is ass! This situation isn't really talk no jutsu, because to me this is more so the you're what I used to be, what the hell went wrong trope instead. As I've stated earlier, I feel like Nagato really could have been talked down all along. He was like a basement dweller who had online friends who were his echo chamber. All he really needed was to go outside and have conversations with ordinary people and he would have been straight. One of those stupid change my mind table talks would have worked wonders for this man. Sometimes your close ones might be trying to tell you something, and for some reason you won't listen to them or agree with them until a whole ass stranger comes along and says the same exact thing. And now all of a sudden you're seeing things way more clearly, as if your friend didn't already tell you the same shit. And all because it's a fresh perspective. These are the sorts of villains who can never truly stand on business. But you know what? Despite finding it silly, Nagato changing his mind made far more sense to me than when Obito did. Shit, I'm willing to argue that Obito was a poor written version of Nagato. But whatever man, I'm not here to shit on Naruto. This man, Obito, enrolled himself into Villain University right after Rin died. Now, some characters have turned into villains for far less, so I'm not about to pretend to be mad at him for his antagonistic shit. If I'm going to scold Obito for that, I'd have to go through all of the antagonists that I've seen up to this point and keep the same energy with them, and I'm not about to do that. Obito is a funny case study to me. Because not only was he a grown-ass man who folded similarly as Nagato did, record speed might I add, after having a simple-ass talk with Naruto, but this man readily adopted someone else's dream after tossing his own away after Rin's death. So you're a puppet and you fold easily? Absolutely pathetic villain behavior. He wasn't even necessarily harder to crack than Nagato either. Obito's another character who would have benefited greatly from talking to other people. Being a villain after losing someone close to you, usually I could get behind that. But to try and force some shit on me because you're projecting your pain and grief onto everyone else is insane. Why do I gotta be placed in a false reality just because you got your feelings hurt? Why? I love how some villains will follow the craziest train of thought, believing that their actions are the best for humanity and how they're doing everyone else a favor, because it really does take a true delusional person to be like, my way is the only way. But forget that for a sec. Why are some of y'all villains so damn soft? Wah. Because I experience pain, I want to create a world where no one else feels any more pain. I want peace. Wah. And then all of that just to do some of the most fucked up shit. Oh my god. Soft as baby shit, man. Soft as fuck. And I'm only talking about their mentality here. These three are soft as hell. Oh my god. And again, the fact that Naruto gave us these three big bads back to back to back, atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Now I'm just sort of going on a rant, but stop trying to force this pussy bullshit onto everyone, please. Hardships are a part of life. Some of the greatest lessons learned are through rough life situations. And no, I'm not trying to say something like war is an essential part of life, and how it's okay for innocent people to die. I'm not trying to say that. They was out there talking about everyone's ideal peaceful world and shit. No, get that fairy tale bullshit out of here. So as I was saying, you want to take away hardships because you got hurt? Oh boy. It's crazy to think that some villains are willing to do some of the most inhumane shit, and this will be their motivation. Why can't you just make everyone's life harder like a real villain, huh? Why not be a villain who kills because everyone else is inferior, or because you're a god and you refuse to share oxygen with anyone else, on some, I don't know, twirly mustache villain shit? Why can't Nagato, Obito, and Madara be basic villains with no motivation, other than being evil for the sake of evil? God. I've already said what I wanted to say about Nagato and Obito, and most of those points apply to Madara as well, wanting to forcibly deliver peace for everyone with his soft-ass mindset, partially because of his loss that he experienced. So I'm not gonna keep beating a dead horse here. My thing is, in the end, after the whole Kaguya bullshit, this man Madara says, お前はいつも楽観的だった。だが、それが正しいのかもしれんな。俺の夢はついえた。だが、お前の夢はまだつながっている。後ろをついてきてくれるもの、託せるものを育てておくことが大切だった。なら俺は無理だったってことだ。Just because you lost doesn't mean that you were wrong. But can you imagine having a strong opinion that you truly believed in, but you start getting cooked for it, so you end up changing your opinion to match everyone else's? That right there is also some soft mentality shit. I get it, if your eyes are open, then yeah, okay. But if you fold even though you don't agree with everyone else's opposition, that's some weak-minded shit, especially for a villain. But to be a villain and convert after failure means your mentality was weak, especially when the two before you fell victim to the same shit. All three of y'all cannot come to the same realization, and I'm just saying that for story purposes. Madara, being the final one, should have seen what happened to the other two and been like, no, I gotta double and triple down on my bullshit now. But nah, for some reason these three villains in Naruto had to see the light. I'm about to move on, but why couldn't Madara have just gone to his grave, still holding on strong to his beliefs to the very end? Even if he was truly changed, he could have just kept that shit to himself. They are all frauds. This dude, and this dude. Phony, fake, fraudulent ass villains. If you're gonna be a real villain, you gotta stand on your shit. That's all. Fuck all of that redemption bullshit. Anyway, before I end this video, I really want you to understand where I'm coming from. So I'm going to place myself in the open-toe shoes of these guys real quick. But real quick, with all the open toes in Naruto, why couldn't we get some toe diversity? Seriously, all of these open toe shoes and everybody got the same standard toes? Really? And I'm saying this as someone who doesn't have a foot fetish. I don't even understand the chemical imbalance in one's brain for them to get all tingly seeing feet. It's just real unfortunate how my toes looking like ET fingers and I can't get some representation in this show. Anyway, if I'm gonna be on some villainous shit while also trying to save humanity or show them the way, no one is going to change my mind. That has to be rule number 1. Once you've decided to be on this villain shit, you gotta stand in this villain shit. Rule number 2, and this one's real important as it enforces rule number 1. You must spend years believing and deluding yourself into thinking that your way is the right way and that there is no other solution. Now, throw in some drip of decent reason for motivation like some sad backstory, some good broken abilities, and you got it. Because once you got all of that down, no kid is gonna spawn right in front of you and change your mind in a matter of minutes. But in the off chance that happens and you turn into Nagato, Obito, or Madara, then there's a good chance that you're gonna begin doubting yourself. And if you doubt yourself, that would mean that you were always wrong. And if you were always wrong, that would mean that all the people that you killed up to the point of your realization were pointless murders and it was all for nothing. And if it was all for nothing, and you truly believed that your way of doing things were wrong, that means that you never wanted to stand on business because deep down you wasn't about that life. Just like these 3 right here. And this is why Hopper from A Bug's Life is a way better villain than your favorite anime villains.